All right. First and foremost, I want to say, call out Yahweh by Shimon Shai, what I just said. So I praise to the Father in the name of the Son. I also want to say, Yahweh by Shimon Shai, or Most High in Christ bless. What we come out here to do is to teach the truth according to the Bible, man, and teach the black, Hispanic, and Native Americans their true biblical nationality, right? Let me get Revelation 13 and 9, right? Because I was just listening to one of my songs, Revelation 13 9, I killed the sword, right by the sword, man. It's in the spirit to get this, man. Right? We living in that day where we're about to see a lot of people who led us into captivity, man, who brought us into this land, right? Who contributed toward the enslavement to the black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, man. We're going to see a lot of this reversing on their people, man. We're going to see Edom go into a possession, man. And like I do teach often, man, Edom, the men and everything, they're going to be destroyed, man. But if they women and children, man, they're going to be a possession. It's saying numbers that Edom shall be a possession, man. Right? And Sierra shall be a possession. Right? So that don't negate that we're going to get these people in our possession, man. But also the other nations, man, it ain't not one nation that ain't ate of the delicacies, right? Or gotten of the spoils of the children of Israel, man. It's not one nation that's going to get away from the wrath of God, man. Right? All nations going to have to answer to the Most High God, man. Right? Bring this out, Elder.
Okay, Revelation 13 and 9.
Bring it out.
If any man has the ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
So we understand, man, if you led us into captivity, right? It's not way before transatlantic slavery, right? But being led into captivity by the sub-Saharan, right? Which could potentially right, and you know that they was getting all this with everybody, man. I'm hoping this thing don't go. Revelation 13 gotta happen, right? Revelation is a future event. They all like to say Revelation is about symbolism. Revelation is not literal, it's figurative. Revelation is literal. There ain't no way that you can say that this is in some version of the Bible, man. You're gonna see that Revelation 13 and 10 say what did it say? It say captivity must go into captivity. He who kills with the sword must kill. And that's the only thing that makes sense is he who kills with the sword must be killed. But he who goes into captivity must go into captivity. It's crazy. That's the stupidity of this long time frame. And we got different authors or different transliterators, man, who changed the Bible into saying some folly like that, man. Right? Would you say, Elder?
Some different doctrines.
No, and it's actually different. Let me get Numbers 24 and let me get 17. But it comes in different translations of the Bible, like the ESV or something like that. Numbers 24 and 17. Numbers 24 and 17. These different translators, they're mostly white. They didn't translate the Bible so many different ways. That's what they narrative. They don't want to say, oh, he who goes into, he who take you into captivity must go into captivity. Oh, he who lead ourselves into captivity. Lead ourselves into captivity. Right? right? But we didn't lead ourselves into this predicament, man.
Right.
It was the so-called white man that took his opportunity, man. He took advantage of a situation. Right? Actually, I'm gonna get some real quick before you get there, right? This is Judith. I got this last week, man, and it's on the video from last week too, man. But I'm gonna get into this. Judith chapter 5, verse 20. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people and they sin against their God, so they know, oh man, we got to get these people out of sin, man. We can't overcome them when they're living right. Right? That's why they don't want us to be Israelites, man. That's why they don't want us following them out there. That's why they teach that we can't keep the Passover. That's why they teach that we can't do this, that, and the third. Right? So this is why they teach that we can't keep the Passover, and they got our brothers and stuff teaching the same doctrine, man. This how you know some people be compromised, man. Not sending no shots, man. But if you're teaching that we can't keep the Passover, you out your damn mind, man. Because it say in Numbers 2, man, they say that the journeying man is supposed to keep the Passover in the second month. We only keep it in the first month on the 15th, on the 14th day, because we rehearsing the righteous acts, man. Right? I'm probably gonna go ahead and do a second Passover for myself,
Right.
just to make sure that I'm the journeying man, because we is in our captivity, right? We is in our captivity, but the teach that we should be doing the land, man, is out this world, man. Right? We're not really sacrificing no land because Lebanon is not sufficient to burn. Right? We rehearsing the righteous act. Right? We don't do sacrifice in this land. Right? American lambs and rams ain't worthy to be burnt. Right? But we just rehearse righteous acts in a place of our captivity. Right? Keep on going ahead. Oh, no, let me keep on going on that. Let us consider that this shall be their ruin. Let us go up and we shall overcome. So they know we ain't keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. That's why they keep us in poverty, man. That's why they keep us in poverty. And our poverty breeds crime, man. That's when you get men sleeping with other men's wives because they don't be happy in their own home, man. So they go and try and get somebody else. That's adultery, right? Then you got somebody willing to kill each other, man, because they hate their brother, man. Evil eye to their brother, man. That's poverty, man. That really comes from covetousness, man. Right? Which is coming from everything. Covetousness breeds all of this, man. Right? Because you envy your brother, you want what your brother has, or you don't want your brother to have something he has. So you try and take his life, or you try and steal from him, man. Right? Or you try and do him filthy, man. Right? Like the law say, man, thou shalt love thy brother with all thy heart. So we gotta understand that when we impoverished, man, or when we in poverty, man, that's when the evilness comes out of our heart, man. Poverty breeds wickedness, man. Right? And that's why they keep us at the bottom of society, man. They take one Negro, one house Negro, and put them above all the rest of the Negroes, man. Right? And say, here, man. But they'd be like, here, do this, do that. Right? Show these people how to live evilly, man. Right? Tell them to kill each other, man. Tell them to do this, that, and the third. Right? They continuously tell us to do wickedly, man. And especially, you know how they do that with the music, man. They do that with the entertainment industry, man. Right? Because we never was no evil, vile people, man. During the time of segregation, man, it wasn't really no black on black crime like that, man. And segregation breeded black on black crime, man. They took the fathers out of the home, man. They incentivized fathers not being in the home, man, by giving us support, man, like PSS and Department of Social Services and stuff like that, man. STEM, EBT, man, assisted living, man, right? All this stuff, man. They gave us these things, but they don't give it to our men. They still don't give it to our men. They give it to our women at the highest rate, man. right? Let me try and go get some stamps and I ain't got a job. They're gonna say, oh, here go $175 for the month, right? And you gotta make that work. And you got 3, 4, 5, 6 months top to get your stuff together off of that $175 a month, right? But let it be a woman, man. Oh yeah, here go $1,200. Here go $1,500 in rent assistance, man. And your rent is only $200 a month because you live in Section 8 housing. Right, they'll do whatever they can to get you to be okay as a woman. But as a man, you gotta go out and work. You gotta go do something. Right? But our women not being in the house. I mean, our men not being in the house. They said kick this man out the house, and then when you got on Section 8 housing, man, right? They take the they do business, man. They go in the houses and they be like, is there a man in this place? Oh nah, we gotta take you off of this. Don't let us find no man in your house, man. Right? They did this to overcome us, man. They made it so the woman have surpassed the man. Right? This is a new thing in us. Right? Go ahead, give me that numbers 24 and 17.
24 and 17. I shall see him, but not now.
Right?
I shall behold him, but not now. There shall come a star, thou shalt smite the corners of Moab.
So Christ is the star that's coming out of Judah, man. And Christ is the star. He the one that's going to smite the corners of Moab. Right? Go ahead.
And destroy the children of Seth.
And he shall destroy the children of Seth, man. Right? Keep on going, Elder.
And Edom shall be a possession.
Right?
Sir, always shall be a possession
So
of his enemies.
So it says, Edom shall be a possession. Edom gonna come into possession, man. Right? This is what I was originally going into, man. Right? Edom being our possession. Right? And then Seir is right now a possession of our enemy. Right? And some people might even go into this, man. I might even go into this at times and say that that's talking about an event that already happened. Right? Because Edom was a possession for the children of Israel. Edom was a possession under King David. Right? But if you go into Amos, I think it's 8 or 9, and talk about Edom, it's going to return as in the days of old. Edom shall be our possession. Right? So you can't really get around that either, man. Edom going to be in our possession, man. He's going to be our servants, man. Right? And we got to understand, man, that there ain't no way to get around some of these scriptures, man. They're going to be our possession. Right? But it's going to be strictly what I see as the women and the children are the widows, and the Bible is children to be more specifically. It's not going to be all of Edom. We ain't going to see no grown-ass Edomite men in the kingdom unless they come up from a youth and raised up in the kingdom. And then that day, they ain't going to be on that wicked fornicator like Esau, man. They ain't going to be on that stirring evil in the community, man. They're going to be being punished for doing that type of stuff, right? Go ahead, Elder.
And Israel shall do valiantly.
And Israel shall do valiantly. Right? They ain't going to be able to do nothing in the kingdom like they do now. Give me Revelation chapter 22. Right? This is Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. How long will thou go about? Oh, thou backsliding daughter, for Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall come past a man, or a woman shall pass over a man. That word compass means to basically carry a man, or basically do something better than a man. So this is really going into the woman being on the higher spectrum than a man. Like the woman is given too much power in these days, right? Because oh yeah, this is my house, my name on this thing, man. Oh, you gotta they give the woman too much power with Social Security and the inside, right? Not Social Security, but the system, right? Because when they give them, they incentivize the man not being in the house, right? This is a whole thing, man. A woman always was dependent upon a man. What happened in the biblical days, man, a woman wouldn't be able to do too much. She wouldn't have the liberty to get abroad too much. She would go from her father's house to her husband's house, right? And then if she was able to go back to never be able to just go. That she got a house from her husband or something, right? And then that she lived a life just freely go about and have her own way, right? But now we see a woman down the street, smoking weed, cutting up, right? Getting high, rowdy life, bumping music, right? The daughters of Zion should not be around the daughters of Zion. Yes, right? Right? And it's not a national woman thing, it's just what it is. Our women should be protected. That's what I'm going into. Protecting our women with the so-called white men. And this actually came with the white woman. They wanted to work. They wanted to be independent. They strong, right? They was able to wear the pants. The women suffered, right? They wanted to, because they was working at jobs when they came to the men doing the war. They were doing other jobs here in America, right? That was a commitment. They was trying to do all their own thing, and then that don't really happen too much. It do happen with the white women still, but it affected our women the most. Our women, now they gotta work. Now they gotta go and do this. And sometimes they ain't even gotta their work because they just keep on having kids. Keep on having kids by this man time they get here. Devontae, Gerald, and they got 3 different baby dads and they funded. They be a stay-at-home mom and they ain't even got no damn husband. Right? That's crazy to even think about. That's how I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom without a man. But you see it all the time in our America. Why is that? Because the government then incentivized them having kids. Incentivized them doing everything to get some child support. Right? And then when a man trying to actively be in his children's life, the woman be trying to keep this man out of life. They be fighting for custody. But then they hate the children, right? Right? That's how it is. When I have you get older.
We had the Revelation 1 and 20.
Let me see. Revelation 21 and 22. Okay, Alright, I'm gonna get some real quick, because I'm going into something. This is Deuteronomy 28, right? And 54, 55, 56. This is what our women and their attitude, and it's coming from the verses of Deuteronomy. Right? It's Deuteronomy 28, verse 56.
Just a disclosure, man. This is probably why the video wasn't uploaded to YouTube, because it keep on freezing like this. I haven't had problems with YouTube uploading my videos. That's why I'm playing it back this way. Don't mean to interrupt it in between scripture, but yeah, my video, I guess this is why it's happening this way. So we're gonna keep on lugging through this, man. Hopefully it don't have too many more issues going for it, but this is how this video gonna be uploaded.
This is what our women and their attitude, and it's coming from the verses of Deuteronomy. It's Deuteronomy 28, verse 56. The tender and delicate woman. Sometimes we still have that in a slim chance, right? And I don't speak on my situation, man, but the Lord might give me a tender and delicate woman. But care about it. Right? Sometimes you gotta go through 100 pain in that and headaches. Sometimes that's really what about the Lord. That one she's tender and delicate. So that's how it used to be. Our women used to be tender and very delicate. Right? It says, among you which will not have ventured so to their delicate men that they won't even go outside and put their foot on the ground. Right? Which is that ain't definitely happening nowadays. You'll never have a woman that never go outside. Right? And that's just not it. Acquire land, so they said that it's a bad thing for a woman to be outside, right? Because a good virtuous woman, man, she's gonna go out and she's gonna buy food to make sure that the house is in order. That's how it's supposed to be. But then also we have different type of women that didn't want to even go outside and stayed in the house and took care of the house well. Sometimes when you was in a certain position, man, you had women that was able to go out and have they not go out, but have their servants go out and get the food and get the stuff ready, and then they'll just bring it back. They'll order the house when you had servants in hand. So that wasn't always the case. This damn sure ain't calling a woman a lazy woman. A woman who stay in the house and you got people under you working for you, that ain't a bad thing. Right? So I'm continuing on, man. It says, her eyes shall be even toward the husband. So now we have a woman who got her eye even toward her husband. And that really comes from the women suffering that really came from that idea that the white man pumped into our woman's mind. Like, oh, you don't need a man. What other nation of people say they don't need a man? Only, and I hate to say it, because telling a good man, they start thinking they don't need you either. Because what they got degrees, they got the ability to make money, and they don't think they need a man either. But really, they are practicing. Right? And then they think that they don't need all by themselves. Right? They can go out and they can work and they can do this, man. Right? And then they brag about how they take care of the house. I do all this by my damn self. What is that? You know how miserable it is to raise children, to go out and work, and not be having somebody in your corner, and then you out here bragging about being alone. A Chinese, a Japanese, a white woman, none of them would ever brag about doing it alone. They would go and suffer in a marriage for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years before they brag about being alone. Right? I didn't hear stories of either white women or white women, right, that just suffered beatings and all different type of stuff, and no woman should suffer through getting beat. But they just suffered through getting beat for 30 years just to raise up their children. And then when their children was out the house, they separated. And now they saying, nah, I'm not dating no more men. I'm going to be alone now because I'm by myself. I don't have children that rely on a man. See, they knew they needed the man. But our women, they be like, oh, no. This nigga, he all he do is come home and play the game. I'm leaving him. All he do is drinking and smoke. I'm leaving him. Right? And I mean, drinking and smoking ain't a good habit to have, man. But you can have men out here doing all types of dirt. But the woman in our neighborhoods, in our community, man, they'll deal with a drug dealing man. They'll deal with a man that's evil, that's out here gunning down somebody else, and eventually go into prison. And now you gotta work to feed your family and then to put money on this nigga books. Right? And you still stay with him, but you want to stay with a good man. Because all he do is come home and he don't do nothing. He boring. They hate a boring man. They got an evil eye towards their husband, and especially if he's a good man. Which is crazy. Ain't no other place in the world where a woman gonna leave their husband because he's a good man. In certain places of the world, if a woman got a good man, she gonna bring up other women. And they're gonna have more women. And they're gonna begin to become a huge family, man. But I don't want to be no. This nigga boring. I'm late. Oh, we don't do nothing. We don't go on vacations. We don't do nothing. We just stay in the house all the time. In a house that's paid for. And he got you probably cars. He probably got you jewelry and stuff like that. But oh, he boring. It's the worst type of mindset that some of our women be having. I be evil toward their husband, right? And toward her son and toward her daughter. Right. So they be looking at their children and they be like, man, you look just like your father. And then it bring a disgust to them because when they see the children they bear, man, they see disgust because the man that they left, right? Not the man that left the house, the man that they left. Sometimes the man left the house, and it'd be understandable, man. But they just disgusted. But this is the man that they chose to have, because they chose to have children with, man. And that comes from the father's not being around too, man. That's a continuous cycle, man. The father's not in the house, man. Children can have the same cycle where they be like, oh, let me meet your boyfriend. Let me see if you're a good man for you. Because the father just wants to hand over the and supposed to be, oh, you could just do whatever with my daughter, and then you come to me 20 years down the road when you're ready to marry her, and then you ask me for her hand in marriage. Nah, it's supposed to be y'all about to court, or y'all about to deal with each other, but I'm about to prove you worthy for my daughter. You gotta actually pay me a dowry of virgins. My daughter is spirit. You gotta about to just take my daughter. Right? And a lot of people would probably think this is crazy in this day and age. When I have a daughter, man, I'm going to treat her like a possession. Now my son gonna have to go out and start getting it. At like 13, 14 years old, he's gonna have to start putting money into his account so that he can get ready to pay a dowry for a bird. You know, my son is just like that. What's your family? Right. Right. And that's what we can because it's supposed to be like they say the law of rape. I did a video on my YouTube channel about that, man. It's not about the law of rape. It's when a man go into a woman, man, and he ain't got his father's permission, man. He gotta go back to the father, and he gotta report to the father, and he gotta pay that father a dowry, man. Because he humbled his daughter, man. It ain't about no rape in that law. It's about making a woman into a wife. And you humbled that woman, you then took her innocence from her, man. So you're supposed to make her a wife. That's the same idea as a shotgun marriage, man.
You might even get killed by doing something.
Right, and if you do rape a woman, you do die. You have to die. Right? That's what the laws of God say, man. Right? So it ain't no way around that, man. But our woman's supposed to have the fathers in the house to be able to say, like, look, man, you want a man that's going to lead you the right way. You want a man that's going to show you what you're supposed to be doing. You want a man that's going to be following after the Most High in his law says you command. You would never be a man of God and not look for a man for your daughter that's going to not follow after God. Why would you say, oh, I got a daughter, I'm just going to give her to the wolf? This nigga don't know how to keep a beard on his face. Why would I want a weak ass man with my daughter, right? This man don't. He be eating pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, and all my grandchildren, man, don't be eating pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. You out your damn mind. We're gonna make sure that we got order established, so it's gonna start with the father. The father gonna be like, oh, now you dealing with this dude, he no good for you. And then some women gonna go and do their own thing, man. But if you train up a child in the way they should go when they are old, they shall not depart from it. Right. So verse 56 or verse 57, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them. For one of all things. So they're saying she's going to devour her children in one of all things. This is literally going into DSS and Social Security, right? Or not Social Security, housing and stuff, right? Because they go into the system, man, and then they destroy their children because they don't know better, man. They go, oh, I'm just trying to get some food stamps. I'm just trying to get some child support. And then they're destroying their children in the process. Not having no real man, so they raise emotional boys, right? Out of menstruous women become monstrous children, right? They bring forth monsters, right? I'm not even that. I'm not trying to bash the woman, but it's all a cycle, right? It's all a cycle. How to get Second Ezra chapter 5, verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be all sent out again. The wild beasts shall change their places. Somebody on the and it says, and mistress women shall bring forth monsters. Right? Mistress women is bringing forth monsters. Our women without men in the house is raising up emotional boys. Right? And they the ones that be shooting up the club or going out here robbing innocent old men. Right? Like I remember when I was a child, man, my grandfather died when I was 9 years old. Right? Because it was, I don't know the whole story, man, but somebody decided to go into my grandfather's house and try to my grandfather had $5 cash and then my grandfather had a heart attack, man. It's a monster that came forth out of a mistress woman, man. Because they didn't, all they wanted was, they were jealous of my grandfather, and all my grandfather did was do good for his grandchildren at the time, man. He was that same day when my grandfather was robbed, he had just got from dropping me off at the house. Right, but this is how it happened. This is what goes on. They bring forth these monsters, right? And then we don't realize why our children, like our young men, don't be upstanding young men. They just be YNs. All we got out here is young niggas, man. Why all we got out here is young niggas? Why we got no upstanding, smart kids? That usually comes from the fathers of right? I see both sides of the pendulum in my family, man. Right? My mom had children before she got married, and then she had children after married, some of her children, right? And it's some of her children, like my brothers and stuff, they children. That's his life. But some of them went to college, some of them just ended up being out here maintaining and trying to survive. Right? Some of them buying houses and cars and all this stuff, and some of them is just out here trying to make it. Right? So we gotta understand, man, this is what's going on. This is how it happens all the time. And it's a cycle of not being in the house. Actually, I gotta jump back up, man, to Deuteronomy 28 and 54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. Evil eye towards his brother. Right? They don't understand that. Us hating a person for what street they live in, what neighborhood they live in, what project they come from. That's crazy. That's an evil eye towards your brother, man. What color you wear, like in California, man. I don't know. Yeah. That's just like right? They all they want is to control their territory. But this is all the white man's name street. William Street. Right? Jefferson Street. Right? This is white men, names after white men. But we have gangs all throughout these streets, man. Now, I don't know if it's always like that, but I know it's right? But why do they do that? Now, it's probably not because of territorial things, man. Probably because Jose was sleeping with Alexandra, and Alexandra is dating somebody else, right? And that just leads down to a cycle where it's causing senseless violence. Evil eye towards your brother because you sleep with another man's wife, right? another thing that's in the commandments, right? Right? Because somebody wants your woman, man. Right? And that happens. But it shouldn't happen. Right? It should be, oh, this is my brother, this is my wife, and it
Hands
comes.
off.
Right, and it should be structure to it. It should be structure in our neighborhood. Right? Because the structure comes from, oh yeah, he took this woman. We know he took this woman because she took his name. Right? She took his name and she under his household. Now she is his. She is his possession, man. It ain't for me to take somebody's bitch, man. No language, but that's how it is. They just want to F a nigga bitch, man. That's the mindset of our people, which is crazy, man. And then that leads to somebody coming around and turning around and killing their brother, man. Because you done messed with my girl. Right? Or you done did it and I see you coming out my house that one night, man. And now I gotta hunt you down because I know you messing with my woman. Right? And it's just how it be, man. Or the neighbor report, yo, where you get a new car? I seen this car in your driveway last night. I was at work last night. What you talking about? What kind of car was it? And nowadays with cameras, you got a super crane. You got a high road professional in the backyard, man. It's crazy. But it's not because that's the type of mindset you're trying to be equal with niggas. It's all wrong. Right? Because white men love sharing each other. White men laying with white men. They would have a whole orgy. They would all sit together. Men laying with men, women laying with women, men and women mixing each other up and stuff like that. They was the real ones having the Diddy parties, man. And that was back in Rome. That was probably predated Rome, but it was documented and recorded in Rome. Because they found great pleasure and stuff like that. Diddy parties wasn't originated with Diddy, man. This was the Romans, man. Right? Same thing every week. It's around the 4 o'clock hour, man. Right? And in the kingdom, man, we're not going to have none like that. The Greeks and the Romans and the Edomites really ain't going to be able to be, oh yeah, we want to do our own thing. Let's share each other's women. Right? That thing, once we get a whip or something like that, it's going to be destroyed, man. It's going to be obliterated from the kingdom. Right? We ain't even going to have the idea because godliness is going to come out of Israel.
Have a different mindset.
Right, and we're going to be the standard. Israel shall be the standard, or the law, statutes, commandments of God going to be the standard because Christ's going to be in charge, man. Christ ain't going to be letting no Diddy stuff going on, man. No man going to ever think about being with a man. Homosexuality not going to be regulated, man.
That might be it.
All you want to know is the law, statutes, and commandments. Now, how we know that? Because that's what the Bible says. Right? And I'm going to keep on going, right? It says, evil eye towards his brother, right? And towards the wife of his bosom. So our men have an evil eye towards the woman. That's crazy because they don't go good for our women. And then we allow our women to take the children. We don't fight for our children. We think it's just better to stop fighting. Right? Because, oh yeah, she ain't gonna let me see my kids anyway. She's not gonna let me see. And then they be abandoned in parental rights. That's crazy as hell as a man. Because you better go and you better find a way to get this woman not to have possession of her children. You better fight for your children. It's marriage. All they can do is think that they gotta do everything for the children. And it should be the man and the woman together raising the family. That's what the Bible ordains. House and with the house with the man and a woman. You don't see the Arab man doing that. You rarely see the white man doing that. Right? You don't see none of these other nations doing that. When they come over to America, then they start doing all different types of stuff. Because America just breeds that type of stuff. It becomes the home of every vile and hateful and unclean spirit. That's America for you. It breeds wickedness. It breeds disorder. That's what America is known right? That's why America is known as Babylon the Great and Mystery Babylon and Revelation, man. Because all it does is it breeds disorder, man. Babel, right? A bunch of foolishness, confusion, right? That's what America is known for. That's why it's titled, or it's got a surname of Babylon, the Great Whore, right? That's why America got that name, right?
Hey, brother.
We known in America as Mystery Babylon. In Jamaica, they refer to America, the Rastafarians at least, they refer to America as Babylon. They talk about how America gonna burn. Right? They refer to America. And then why do we get this ideology that, oh yeah, black men ain't raised by their father? Right? Because the book of Deuteronomy says so. Right? Why we get this idea that the women ain't got no father or got no husband? Right? They be kind of throwing shade at us when they say stuff like that, man. And in our reality, a lot of our men do be in their children's lives. Black men is the most active in their children's lives. But it comes from them. So sick of seeing they like we even see sometimes men be in especially as a man, a black man in America, right? Where he is the least loved in America. Black women get the love from their children, and they get the protection from their children too. But then you don't want to see your children coming up loving their father, and then you think it's a problem with that, right? You see a father being compassionate to his children, you think there's something wrong with that. And a lot of times on social media, when you have a father showing compassion or love to their children, man, then you think that they look at it as a weird type of thing, a weird thing that's going on when a father is just showing love to his children. Because they don't realize that they were supposed to have that as a child, because they never had that. Right? Nobody told you that it's okay for your father to kiss his daughter, man. It's okay for a father to hug on his daughter. It's okay for a father to show love to his daughter, man. Or show love to his son. Right? It ain't nothing wrong with it. America breeds this type of stuff where you think it's weird. Right? But it ain't nothing wrong with a father showing love to his children. Right? I'm going to finish this up, right? And it says, and toward the remnant of his children, which is right? A lot of times, these DSS, the social security, social services, man, and assisted living, man, they gonna travel by right? Or they gonna have friends who gonna influence them. Oh yeah, let's get this man off the hook. You could get child support for that. You know how much money that man make? Take half of what he got. Right? You ain't even gotta take half of what he got. Take 10% of everything he got every time he get paid. If he make enough money, man, you can live off of that. Right? And then they'll take advantage. Right? And good thing a lot of our women don't get married, man. Because if they got married according to the system, they'll be able to take 50%, man. Right? They'll be able to take a home if you have to. Good thing the men don't bow down on one knee, man. Right? Because that ain't the way the Lord ordained it anyway. It's supposed to be a man coming into a woman and then that's a wife. But that's a whole different situation. It don't come with people. Between the covenant between you, your wife, and the Most High God, right? But that's a different situation. So this is why we seeing all this confusion in our home, right? And they really do drive from the way they drive from them, like back in the Renaissance period, with people like Caesar Borgia and Borgia and all the higher ups, man, the Caesar families and the Caesars, they was all up into that homosexuality and stuff. They had wives. They was all up into it. They had these women. They was all up into messing with each other. They had a wife. They was all up into it, man. And that's where we're gonna come in. We're gonna Give me this, Elder. Revelation 2 and 26.
Revelation 2 and 26.
Bring it up.
And he that overcometh and keep my work unto the end.
Hold on. It says to him, what?
And he that overcometh and keep my work unto the end.
And that's the main thing about it. We keeping the works, which is the law, statutes, commandments, right? And the faith of Christ, man. The law, statutes, commandments technically tell us to keep the faith of Christ. So if we want to go into the Deuteronomy 18 and see the words that come out of his mouth and the things that you shall do, and anybody shall not do the things that come out of his mouth, it shall be required of him. That's in Deuteronomy 18:18, right? It said to follow after Christ. It said to keep the commandments. It said to keep the faith as well, right? That's in the law, so keeping the works until the end, right, man?
Will give power over the nation.
So we're going to have power over the nations, the people. They don't say that they're going to be equal with them. They don't say that they're going to be spared from judgment. We're going to have power over the nation. It means power is rulership. Right? When we go into the kingdom, we're going to be over everybody, man. We ain't going to be at the bottom of society no more. Traffic on this should be crazy. Some people will be ready to die just to drive. Come on, man. But we're going to have power of rulership over the nations, man. That's what the Bible says. Like the Native Americans, man, we don't need to think about it. Ours and their purpose. They will always be right? Understand that the Lord is powerful. So, in that day, man, everything gonna be in the right place. We're gonna be put everything in this place, right? Everybody ain't gonna be able to do what they want to do, right? Everybody ain't gonna be able to move how they want to move, right? It's gonna be an order in the kingdom, right? You're gonna know that, oh yeah, this is what we gotta do. The Lord said do this, the Lord said do that. It ain't gonna be, oh yeah, this is how I feel, this is how I want it to be. Feelings ain't gonna be playing back in the kingdom. It's gonna be thus said the Lord or hit the dirt, right? We're gonna have power over the nation. We're gonna rule with a rod of iron. I wanted you to keep on going in the room, right? Because that's what the Bible says. You can't argue with the facts of the Bible. It says that he that overcometh will have to him will give birth. They don't say that we're gonna be hugs and kisses and hugs, and there's gonna be love in the kingdom, right? Because the love of God is keeping commandments, the love of your brother is the kingdom of God. So there's gonna be love in the kingdom. I ain't saying there's gonna be hate in the kingdom, right? But it's gonna be order. God's gonna be able to get that righteous judgment is the love of God. Right? Righteous judgment is still love. It might not seem like love to have to suffer punishment with the right. Why did he do it? The forefather ain't pay his back. Y'all still don't want to pay reparations for what y'all still benefited from 400 years later. Or what is it, 265 years later? Y'all been benefiting from all that time, from 400 to 265 years, 135 years. Right. Y'all still paying the Jews $40 billion a year. Right, and not even considering what's happening in the Middle Americas, in Central Americas, and in South America. They went through the same type of crimes and atrocities as we did. They need to be paid back too from the people in their responding countries. Every black, Hispanic, Native Americans, I can't say too much about them because they get paid, and they get paid not as much as they should, but they get paid pretty decent. Now our people, the blacks and Hispanics, need to get some payment too. Yeah, truth shall overcome them, but he shall overcome at the end. They overcome it a little bit, man. Because they got their casinos, they got their gas stations. I ain't saying they good, man. Because there's some Native Americans that still ain't got paid back. Because it's the $5 aliens who got to be able to take right in passage to they allotted earnings. They didn't get it. They said go by the mother, which is completely false, man. Right? It was supposed to go by the father, man. And then they said the natives believed it went through the mother, so that's what they would do. That was the natives that wasn't the natives. It was the ones who didn't understand. They came in, and then they was being raped and pillaged by their fathers, and then they started their own tribe. Right? And then now they believe, oh yeah, it's through the mother because our fathers was the Edomites. And that's where that ideology came from. And that's why a lot of them is girls. Right? And that's why they get incentive, right? They get money from the government. They get their properties. They get their tax breaks. Right? A lot of the real niggas don't get tax exemptions. And there's be a very few natives that both father and mother is native, and they can get the tax exemption, and they got it okay. But it's not always the case. A lot of times it just be up. You gotta get what you can get. You got a working job, and then if they put you on these reservations, sometimes you don't get no kickback. Not a dime, right? So let's get this verse 26.
And he shall rule them with a rod of iron.
So we're gonna rule them with a rod of iron. That means judgment, right? The rod as representing judgment of iron. That means hard judgment. And that ain't no soft judgment. Right? You're gonna get beat with this rod. And keep on going, other.
As the vessels of a potter.
So it says like pots and clay pots, man, like vessels, man, that hold water and hold plants. Man, if you take a iron rod to a pot, what's gonna happen, man? Right? Go ahead.
As the vessels of a potter shall be broken
Right?
to shivers.
So it says you're gonna be broken down to pieces, man. Right? Broken down to pieces, man. Right? That's how it works, man. The Lord ain't playing with these nations, man. Right? Go ahead, Elder.
Even as I receive my Father.
Even as we receive of his Father, that's Christ. That's why he's saying that. We're gonna break these nations down into pieces, right? So this is John chapter 17, verse 17. It says, sanctify them through thy truth. What else? Sanctify them through thy truth. What else? Thy word is truth. What it say? Thy word is truth. So with that, I want to say shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shem Barakatah.